More to say.
Coming up.
Come up now. Stop me.
You coming up.
Hey, everybody. We are back. It is Tuesday. It's time for House of Peach. Oh, my goodness. Morgan, have you watched the intro?
Look, that's why my face was like that. Like, not that I didn't watch
it?
the replay last week just so I could see it again. But yeah, it was nice
Isn't
to
that
see it
thing
real
dope?
time.
Oh my God, it's so dope. I'm like, wait a minute. The first time I saw it, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. I just see our pictures roll through, little video clips. It's cool.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. I'm excited.
Yes. All right, everybody. We are live. It's time for House of Peach. We need you to come in. Y'all don't want to miss tonight. If you've missed all of the other shows, you don't want to miss this one tonight, because we're going to talk about that 3-letter word that people try to not talk about, but we are going to discuss it on tonight. I have had a day. You know, my students tried me today. You hear what I'm saying?
Again? I thought they learned from last week.
They tried me to the point to where I shut down on them. All I did was show them videos. They played a Kahoot game. And normally when I go through the questions, if a lot of them get the question wrong, then we'll discuss why the answer was what it was. And I just sat there and watched them answer question after question wrong. And I'm looking like, they should know this. They should know this. Stuff that they learned before they came to my class. I'm talking medical terminology and anatomy. They had to have those classes to even get into the program. So, and I've been singing it from when I started in October. Y'all need to know anatomy and medical terminology. And if you're not well versed on it, you need to study it. Oh, but they tried it today. I said, okay, I got to shut down on them. Here, play this game. I didn't say one word. It was so quiet. All they heard was the music. Then I showed them a video, and about 12:29, because they're in Arizona, so 11:30 is when they finish, and it's 12:30 here. 12:29, I stopped the one that they were watching. Y'all can watch this if you want to. You'll have your test on Monday. Have a good rest of your week. Click. It was gone. Like, y'all not putting my pressure up. What is wrong with you? And so what I've decided is, because I'm a passionate professor and I love to teach, I give them everything that I have, my experiences, all of that. I'm not doing that because y'all aren't appreciative. Y'all just sitting up here complaining and whining. You want me to hold your hand? I ain't doing that. But anywho, so I had to call one of my fellow instructors and say, listen here, I need a vent right now. And got that off me. So now I'm good. I'm great.
Good. Well, listen, sometimes you need that venting partner. You need somebody who understands that. And it's not that you talking about nobody. It's not that you don't like nobody. It's just, sometimes getting that out allows you to be able to release it and let it go. And sometimes, depending on the person that you're talking to, if your circle is right, those type of people also are able to then shed a different kind of perspective to help you get off of that truck so you don't go down that rabbit hole. So
I did. I was on that truck, and then when I hit that first stop sign, I got off and let the truck roll on.
There you go. Yes.
I'm good.
I love it.
How was your day? Oh, you under the weather. Y'all, come on. Yeah. Give my girl some love. She's not feeling well.
Yeah, and so definitely something different. I feel like it's kind of good though, because I have a little bit of a lull when it comes to both food and babies. So, because no one wants to be sick around either one of those things. So, and I'm honestly, it's just a lot of like sinus pressure, nothing, too crazy. And I don't stay under the weather for more than 48 hours. So hopefully by tomorrow, I'm completely on the mend. But I spent the day actually resting, which is good. Yeah, exactly. I literally did nothing. I missed text messages. And it was what it was. But at the same time, it was like, this is what my body needed. And I needed to be able to listen to that. I'm no good to anybody if I'm run down. So
yeah, our bodies have a way of letting us know it's time to take a rest.
Absolutely.
Nobody likes to shut down, but it happens because if we don't pay attention, then our body does it for us. But I'm glad you were able to rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
it's not bad.
Yeah, no. definitely not bad. I don't have
Mhm.
time to like be down. Who's got time to be kicked down?
Who got
Like
time for
Like,
that?
I surely don't. So yeah, it's been a good day though. And I mean it also lets me know that, you know, the little bit of stressing that I've been doing, it, you know, of course will affect your immune system. Cause like I said, I very rarely get sick. So I kind of need to, I guess, give it up and keep
Yeah,
it keep it moving.
absolutely. You can only
So
change those things that you have control over, and the rest of the stuff, let the chips fall where they may. I need my sanity and my peace.
that part, yeah,
Mhm.
that's first and foremost. So
Well, if you have not subscribed to the House of Peach, the QR code is on the screen. I'm going to need you to take your handy dandy cell phone, and I'm going to need you to let me see if I can make it real country, because I know I already sound country. Let me see if I can do it real. I need you to take your phone and put it up to the screen, and I need you to scan that QR
not the
code right there.
screen, not the
What
screen.
was that? That was good, right? Oh my goodness. We need you to subscribe to our page. We are working on something, and we need you to know when we're going to be live and about other events we're having. The only way you're going to know is you got to subscribe to the page. There's some good
Yeah.
content. So all of our shows from the past year are on the YouTube page. So if you are new to following us and watching us and joining in, then I will need you to hop on over there to YouTube and watch those previous shows so you can see what we are all about. Because we come to inspire, motivate, encourage, and push people. And we also come to learn about these awesome women and their businesses, their organizations, the things that they're doing. We want to highlight them. We want to get you connected with them. And let's not forget about our He Said, She Said that we have
Yes.
the last Tuesday of every month. Morgan, tell them about the He Said, She Said.
Listen, this is any kind of topic, all things on the table. We actually are going to pull out these name calling and labeling that
Ooh.
we tend to do when it comes to partners and people and spouses and, you know,
Mm.
just folks in general. So we're going to talk about labeling and how that affects people, and if we're going to label, how can we be intentional about that labeling, or how do we use labeling in a positive way rather than negative one. So that's going to definitely be our combo
Oh, yeah.
for next week. It's the last Tuesday of every month, and we invite everybody to be able to join in. We don't care who you are. We just want your point of view. So, you know, there's no stipulations on our guests. You can come on and we can see you, or you can just, you know, type in the comments and, you know, bring in whatever you'd like to be able to share. But this is a complete open forum. Our only rule is we don't yuck anybody's yum. Everybody, you know, comes to the table respectfully with their perspectives, and you know, we go on from there. Hello, hey Audrey, hey Gerald, hey Taisha.
Yeah, the key is we want people to come on, because I know you may think, oh, they only have women on there. This is for women. No, when we do our He Said, She Said, we want the men on there too. We need it from the male and female perspective. Hey, Jeff, we're so happy you're on here. So we want you to come on. And if you don't want to come on camera, at least engage in the comments. That's what we want. We want engagement, because I know there's things that I want to know from the male perspective, because I can only see it from my view. I can't look at it from the other side. So help me out so I can, you know, do what I need to do.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, if you're not learning, then what are you doing?
Exactly. I learn something new every day, every single day. Like, wow, really? It doesn't matter how big or small it is. It's just something new. Like, wow, I didn't know that. So I was in Florida this past weekend. Well, I'm in Florida, I mean, Orlando. Let me put it like that. I was in Orlando. I'm still not used to being in Florida. Like, because I've been in Texas for so long. It's like, oh, I was in Orlando this past weekend for an educator conference. And those of you that follow me, even if you don't, go to my Facebook page. I put something there, and Instagram. Our keynote speaker was a guy who does art with chalk. and he does it on a bed sheet. So he had a queen size bed sheet. It was blue on this. He had it where it was nice and tight. He made the most incredible, I don't, you can't even say painting, I don't know, chalk thing on there. It was like mountains and you could see birds, and we're watching him. I recorded 4 minutes of it and put it on my Facebook page.
I did see that right before we came on. I'll watch it again so I
It was
can see it in
amazing.
its entirety.
It was, so I tried to put it in order with the video, and as he progressed, and then the final one, I just sat there because I just knew that this is about to be a jumbled mess because he has ADHD, and so this is what he got into, and it was mind blowing. Like, he literally had all of us there, our attention the entire time, because we wanted to see what the end was, and I was amazed, very much amazed.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
So
Yes.
let's get hot and steamy in here, y'all.
Yes.
I'm super excited. So our guest today, her name is Angela. She is a Christian sexpert, and I am like excited to be able to hear what she's got to say, because a lot of people, like, when you think like sex and Jesus, people want to, cover your mouth and say, don't even put the two in the same sentence.
Right.
So I'm excited, to be able to delve into some things. I don't know if you guys had a chance to be able to, view our reels that were made for this episode. But like, I know I'm ready to like at least this one question to specifically ask Angela. It's having to do with oral sex and it being biblical.
Wait a minute. I saw that and I literally was like, wait a minute, did I just see that?
Yes. So that's why I'm like, ooh, this is going to be really good. Like, Angela's about to bring the tea. So without further ado, Angela Griffith.
We are ready.
Hi.
Hello. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just get into it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and how you got to this point? Because we give us a little background. So before we just, because I know I want to jump right in it, but we want to build this up here. Let's build.
Exactly. Yeah. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Angela. I am the Christian sexpert. I am also getting over the flu. So I'm sorry if I start coughing. So anyway, I live in Ohio with my husband and my 9-year-old son. I am a homeschool mom on top of being a sex and intimacy coach. So my husband and I have been married almost 21 years. And so a million years ago, good girls from small towns did not go to school to become sex therapists. Good girls from small towns went to school to get their MRS degrees. So being a good girl from a small town, I graduated with my bachelor's in religion and psychology, and a few short weeks later got the MRS, which, if you are unfamiliar with the terminology, it means I got married.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks after graduating college, but I remained fascinated with human sexuality and, did not do anything with it. Eventually got pregnant, had a baby, joined an international online ministry for moms, and the Christian sexpert just kind of got born out of that because I kept getting brought into all of these conversations about sex to bring my expertise and wisdom to the subject. And I realized, you know what, the church has done a lot of damage to marriages and to people with the purity culture rhetoric that has been so popular for years. And I want to see that damage undone. I want to see marriages healed. I want to see people having good sex. I love talking about orgasms. So that's what I do.
Oh my. It's going to be hot in here tonight. Wait a minute, I need to get something to drink. I need to get something around here.
You're good.
Oh, goodness.
So listen, so how can you get into how in these mom groups, was sex coming up? Like, is it, I know a lot of the times, you know, there's always that conversation, especially once you newly have a baby, getting back into things, or, you know, not really sure how to explore new things, or how to, you know, talk to your partner about what you like. But like, how did we go from, just like you said, a Christian mom group to let's talk about sex in this group, you know?
So this ministry has always been very consciously focused on, we need to be able to talk about sex as married Christian women. You know, that's a conversation where the church has failed women in particular. And so the ministry has always had consistently, even before I was brought onto the leadership team, because I did eventually get added to the leadership team of the ministry, they would have threads where it would be, let's talk about sex. Post your sex questions in this thread. You know, you can post them anonymously if you want to, but we need to be able to have these conversations. And so, so sorry. And so when subjects like that were being brought up, eventually I started getting like tagged into conversations. And one day one of my friends was like paging Angela, the group sexpert. And then, you know, we kind of laughed about it in the ministry team. And one of my friends was like, Angela, that should be your TikTok handle. And I was like, sure. But I ran over and like reserved it. I was like, I'm just going to reserve the Christian sexpert. And she was like, you know, to like really make it on TikTok, you need to post like 4 videos a day. And I was like, what? Right? Because at the time, like, I'm homeschooling my special needs child who was like 6 or 7. You know, I'm involved with a ministry, you know, and I'm like, what? But it was kind of on a whim. I started doing it. I started posting 4 times a day. I started the channel at the end of January. By Easter, I had gone viral with a video with over 5 million views. So today, I have over 100,000 followers on TikTok. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I've been on the Sarah Jakes Roberts podcast.
Wow.
I've done lots of other podcast guest spots. I have a private Patreon community where I teach all the spicy things I can't teach on regular socials. You know, so I have all kinds of amazing things because this is a conversation that people are hungry for.
Mm-hmm. And it's needed too, because like you said, the church has so damaged people for years. And I know growing up how it was for me, but that didn't, you put those restrictions and stipulations on people. And I will never forget, and I'm not going to say it specifically, but I remember being in a church and hearing it, and I was there for a women's group, and I was just there, and just some of the things that they were saying, and at the time I was like, what are you talking about? What?
Yep.
It didn't make sense, and it didn't register until some years later, like, oh, what? I just couldn't, but yeah, it's quite interesting. So we need to definitely educate people so they will know, because there's a lot of marriages failing, and it's not all about, some of it money and other things, but some of it is about this stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of that too, you see, because in general, as women, we don't talk about sex. We don't, everything ends up being taboo. I know I was looking at, I don't know, it was like some kind of meme or picture or something like that. And there was a lady in the comment section that was just like, that was too much information. You could have kept that to yourself. And I'm just like, the crazy thing is, if this person didn't post this, everyone else that's in the thread that's like, oh my gosh, me too. You know, there's a lot of times where we feel like we're alone, or we feel like this is weird, or like, hey, is it okay for me to like this? You know what I mean? Like, what are there rules and guidelines to it? And especially, like you said, once you add now a religious aspect to it, you know, you're not really sure, like, okay, so am I going to get struck down if I do this? Like, you know, I'm not really sure. Like, I mean, did God say this in the Bible here? And now you're over here flipping, trying to find,
Right.
you know, certain things. So I think that this is good, at least that there is a platform out there to be able to talk about some real things, to talk about the intimate things, because, you know, when you are with a partner, you want to be able to please them, but at the same time, you want to be pleased. And if there isn't someone talking about your body as well as, you know, how to possibly please your partner as well, like you're kind of out here grasping for straws.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. I just did a video where I talked about purity culture really erased female sexuality, and it made us just the receptacles and the stumbling blocks of male sexuality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because before we get married, we're told, you know, you can't show a bra strap because you're going to cause a boy to stumble.
Yeah.
You know, and then after you get married, it's you have to give him sex or he's going to cheat on you. And so nowhere in that conversation is a discussion of the female orgasm, a discussion of female pleasure, and a discussion of female sexuality at all. You know, nobody in youth group is talking about the fact that the average man takes 5.4 minutes to orgasm, whereas a woman needs 14 to 20 minutes of direct clitoral stimulation in order to orgasm. Why was that not taught to us in premarital classes? You know, just you have to do it. That was the extent of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
You have people going around unfulfilled, and we feel like we're just there for them. And what's in it for us? Like, what is that going to do for me? I'm making sure you get what you need, but what about me? Oh, I'm supposed to do that. But I heard that same thing about covering up and don't show too much cleavage, and you know your skirt is your dress is too short, and you're going to cause them to fall, and they're going to be watching you. Well, okay, and that's them, not me. So now I'm over that stuff. I wear what I want to.
Right. But also, there was no accounting for a woman's body, like just simply existing. So it's like, am I showing off my body, or am I simply existing in a body? Because like I have I have a large chest. Like there's only so much I can do without strangling myself to cover this up, right?
Right.
And so am I like, do you think I'm looking for attention, or am I simply existing?
Yeah.
With double D's.
Right.
It was not a conversation. I know one of my friends was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, and she had been wearing the same shorts all summer, and because she was a child and had no ability to purchase her own clothing, right? And so one day she comes down wearing the same shorts that she has been wearing all summer, and her dad yells at her, "Get back upstairs. You're not wearing those out of this house. What are you thinking? Those are too revealing, blah, blah, blah." And she's like bewildered because she's like, I didn't do anything. And then as an adult, she like realizes, I grew. I grew. I was not, making anything sexual out of these shorts. Me simply existing in a body that had grown, that no adult in my life had provided different clothing for, turned me into a sexual stumbling block at 11 or 12.
Yeah. That's a horrible stress to put on someone.
Yeah.
And then the mental strain that they go through from stuff like that, because we don't think that way. Like, this is all I have. What do you mean? And we don't know what to do with that.
And it's really oftentimes it's adults that are sexualizing children, and not children. Don't think like, if I wear booty shorts, like I'm going to get a boy's attention until a certain, like at a certain point, then that starts. But when you're talking about 8, 10, 11, 12-year-old girls, that's not necessarily a thought in their head, right? Like they're just wearing the same clothes that has been in their closets.
Yeah.
And it's adults that are the ones that are, like making it into a thing that is not necessarily a thought in the child's head.
Absolutely. Well, how me being, and obviously too, me being a boy mom, where exactly or how do you talk about sex, with your sons, and being respectful when it comes to, young girls and puberty and, bodies and all of that kind of stuff?
So we have always it starts from birth, right? We don't use cutesy names. When my son was a baby, I would say, like, I'm going to change your diaper. I'm going to wipe your penis. We don't use cutesy names for things. Very much normalized, like, you have boy parts, mommy has girl parts. These are what the girl parts are called. I am very blessed in that my circle includes a traveling midwife who was literally living in an RV and following home births around the country. And so birth is a very normal sort of thing in my household because she's one of my best friends. My sister live streamed her home birth. And so my son watched, her give birth when he was like 5 or 6. And when he was 5 or 6, he was not very interested in academics, but he was super interested in anatomy. So like, this child can tell you like what the liver does and like what the kidneys do, and he can identify all of these internal organs. But that also led to us like watching videos of like animated sperm going to the egg to fertilize the egg, and like all of that sort of thing. If you go to my website, you can get to my Amazon storefront where I have a section titled Books for Kids. And it's a whole bunch of books that I personally recommend as resources for talking about sex and things, and sex education with kids. But part of it really starts with just normalizing bodies existing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is nothing special about my body or a girl's breasts or and it's not this like, oh my god, like seeing moms nurse babies is very much a normal part of his thing. So like, female breasts to him are not
sexualized
because that's how a baby eats, right? And so it starts with normalizing bodies.
Yeah,
has to be like the foundation of the modern day sex talk.
So what have been some of the topics of the videos and things that you've done? How do they vary? What have you had on there?
Oh gosh. So I put out 3 videos a day, which is 21 videos a week on my social media channels. I also put out 2 videos every single week on my Patreon. And so my Patreon is where I teach, like, I talk about different sex toys or like role plays that you could do with your spouse, things like that. But I cover a little bit of everything and anything related to human sexuality and intimacy on my socials. So things like talking to your kids about sex without the shame and condemnation of purity culture is always a very popular topic. I talk about things like obligation sex, marital coercion, responsive desire versus spontaneous desire, the orgasm gap. I have a whole series on there of bedroom games of, things that you can do to spice up your bedroom with your partner. Things like, how do we prepare for, if you're newlyweds, if you're Christian newlyweds going into marriage, how do you prepare for a sex life before you ever get to the altar? Like, is it okay if you don't have sex on your wedding night? Talking about things like, men need 5.4 minutes, women need 14 to 20. Foreplay is so necessary. There's so much. Anything that you can think of, I probably have a video about it.
Oh my! Do you have like a schedule? How do you decide the topics? Is it based on what comments you get, or do you just write out, okay, today I'm going to talk about these 3 things? How do you determine that?
There's no master plan. I know like TikTok gurus and social media and like gurus will be like, you have to have a plan, and I'm like, I got to over 100,000 followers with no plan, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I hear that.
but so a lot of it is based on comments that I receive. I do also get a lot of people who will message me from my website, and they don't necessarily want to invest in a whole coaching session, but they have a question. And if it's something that can be answered in like a 3-minute TikTok or less, I will offer a like I will do a video based on these anonymous inquiries. I also like sometimes I hear a trending sound and I'm like, this would pair perfectly with this topic. So like right before I hopped on tonight, there's a trending sound on TikTok right now where it's the vocal, it's a song, and it's the vocals are saying all that work and what do I have to show for it? Why did I do it? And I was like, I can do something with this. So I recorded it and I was like, okay, so I'm going to put, did all of the work to overcome good girl culture or good girl syndrome and purity culture, only to realize my medication prohibits me from orgasming. All of that work to recover from purity culture, only to realize, so many people get on medications and don't realize that there's a large number of medications that have a side effect of preventing and inhibiting orgasm or killing your libido. And so, it's literally just, as I'm scrolling TikTok at 2:00 in the morning when I should be sleeping, I will forward myself sounds or inspiration and send myself notes of ideas like I want to record. And that's it. That's the master plan.
Wow.
I love it.
Okay. I have a really a question. So what about, oh God, I can't believe I'm getting ready to do this. So what about, you were talking about newlyweds and going into marriage and all of that. What about a couple that's getting ready to get married? Been married before, but it's been a while. And how do they navigate through that first night of what's going to take place here? There have been no kind of contact intimately at all. So how do they get through that part to decide, okay, is this going to happen? Is this not going to happen? What's going on?
Yeah, all that awkward, almost like first time.
Right. It's like,
and
it is. It's like the first time, like you've not done anything before. So it's the very first time. How do you get past that?
So I like to really advocate that the couple needs to have a conversation beforehand about expectations, because you don't want to get to the evening and have one person with an expectation that there is going to be penetrative sex happening, only for the other person to say, I don't think that I am ready for that. Right. So have a very clear conversation about expectations for the night. But I like to say, set your expectations low. Perhaps you set the expectation that no penetrative sex will be happening. Perhaps you guys just want to take a bath together or get in the shower together, right? Because like, especially if you guys are having a big wedding, that's huge and exhausting and you're going to feel grimy and gross afterwards. And a lot of women don't want to hop right into bed after, feeling that way. So, maybe it's just going to be, we're going to take a shower together. We're going to get in bed. We're going to cuddle, maybe some making out. And then we're going to wake up the next day refreshed and see where the day takes us. And then if you guys get to the evening and you're both like, yeah, actually, we want to do this now, like wonderful, fantastic. But if your expectation has been set that you don't have to, we know that obligation kills desire. So if one person is feeling obligated to perform on the night, they're going to be less interested in performing. And so if you remove that obligation, you can just see where things go without the pressure of expectation.
Interesting.
My other thing that I tell newlyweds is take at least 3 different kinds of lubricant on the honeymoon. That's my other like big newlywed tip, because you don't know like how your body's going to react to like particular brands. And you can't exactly like run out at 2 a.m. to find a lubricant that you don't hate. Right.
Right.
3 different like types and brands on the honeymoon with you is my other big piece of advice for newlyweds.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right.
So, for those who have been married for some time, I know you said that you have some videos about like how to spice up, how, you know, bringing in things. Can you talk a little bit about intimacy, how to have certain conversations with your partner about maybe the expectation has changed, maybe you want to explore something different, you know, maybe, I don't know, you don't like something that they've been doing, and you know what I mean, like I know a lot of us, like I actually had a conversation with a friend recently where it was like, we've been doing this for like a while, but I don't necessarily like it. And so, like, how, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a position that I don't particularly care for, but because, you know, that's what my partner likes, I just do it. But, you know, how can I get into more of what I like?
So I actually have a couple of tools for that scenario. So the one I have not released, I'm releasing a course hopefully in the next couple of weeks, called Finding Your Fire. And it's about breaking out of the roommate stage of marriage. But the premise is I am not the same person that my husband married 20 years ago. You know, we know, like, on even like a skin level. So our skin replaces itself every 7 years. So like my body has shed its skin 3 times since we got married, right? Because it's going to be 21 years this year.
Right.
7 times 3 is...
Yeah, you're right. You're good.
Math book. People come to me for orgasms, not math. Okay.
No, I can tell you that, but I can't tell you what 2 times 2 is. Okay.
All right. So, but I don't like the things that I liked 21 years ago in bed because my body has changed.
Yeah.
And so people don't think about the fact that it's been 21 years. Of course, things have changed, you know, of course, erogenous zones have moved, you know, and so the course is really going to help people walk through like rediscovering those changes. But the other thing that I have is what is called the marriage playdate. The marriage playdate is a list of over 500 sexual activities. And the way that it works is you go through, you print 2 copies, one for you, one for them. You give everything a rating on a scale from, I don't really like this, to, I think this is delightful. We should do this all the time. Let's go do it right now. And the beauty of the playdate is everything is fully defined. So you're never going to wind up on some scary, terrifying corner of Google trying to figure out if you're actually interested in an activity, because I like wrote the definition there for you. And so then you come together, you compare your notes, and you see where your ratings line up. And this is an opportunity for like you to say, oh my gosh, I did not know that you would be interested in this activity. I am also interested in this activity. Let's figure out how to make this happen.
Okay.
Like,
interesting.
Oh, you're interested in activity? I've never really considered that activity. I'm not vehemently opposed. We can explore it a little bit. I can like reserve judgment until we've tried it twice. Because that's the thing. Like I tell people, you can't. You have to try things twice, because the first time it can be like a shock and a surprise. And like the shock of like, I did not know that was going to feel that way. The like off-putting. And so if you do it a second time at a later date, you have a better like expectation of this is how this is going to feel. Now I can decide if I actually enjoy it or if I was just surprised and taken off guard last time. So I really encourage. Now, obviously, like if you try something and you're like, oh, it was painful, I hated it, you know, like absolutely we need to have boundaries. But if it's just like, I don't know about this, like I do encourage trying things twice just to make sure.
So how do you get over that? Like, I guess it might be a bit of that purity culture in it, but it's like there's something that you enjoy and it's like there's almost that guilt of enjoying that. For instance, like I said, when I messaged you like, hey, can I can I borrow your oral sex is biblical? Like I have some friends that absolutely love oral sex. Like that's their thing versus even penetrative sex. So, but how do you get over that stigma or that feeling of what you're doing is dirty, even whether it's, within the confines of your marriage or, just your agreement and commitment?
Right. That's
So,
good.
the first thing is to think about the fact that guilt is for things illegal or immoral. You are literally designed, if you are coming from a faith point of view, God designed sex for our pleasure. He wants you to enjoy having sex with your spouse. So, that's assuming not all of my followers are Christians. I actually would estimate that probably half of my followers are non-Christians who tell me that, this was the sex education we wish the church had given us. Like your material is so healing, but that's a whole other topic. ADHD. So keep up. So the getting over that is first acknowledging the fact. So like specifically if we're talking about women have the only organ on a human body designed exclusively for pleasure with no other function to keep the body alive. So the clit serves no other purpose on the body except to provide pleasure. That's it. Right. So if you think about the penis, like that is also functions with the urethra there in the penis. There is no other biological function except for pleasure. And so really embracing the design of our body is one way that we start to combat it feels dirty. It feels, and reminding ourselves guilt is for things illegal or immoral. Enjoying sex with my spouse is not illegal and it's not immoral. And really kind of looking logically at where is this belief system coming from? Was this a toxic teaching that I internalized that I need to push myself and really focus on? This feels good. I want to be doing this. I love my spouse. This is what I'm meant to be doing.
Yeah. I had to get over that when in a previous marriage, thinking that because I realized I wanted to explore some things, but then what I was taught, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do it that way. Maybe it should just be like this way and that's it. But now that I've grown and evolved, it's like, all this other stuff. But I still have moments where it's like, should I be doing this? This seems weird. So I still have some residual of that growing up, that you don't do it like that. It's just this one way and this is how it is. And you don't do all the extra stuff because it's wrong. It's not wrong because I know what the scripture says about it. It says the marriage bed is undefiled, which means anything goes. Whatever y'all want to do, it goes. So I had to constantly work with myself on that so I could explore some things. Found out some stuff I didn't like and some stuff that I did like. So
there you go.
Exactly.
How do you differentiate between intimacy and sex, especially when you may end up in a portion of your relationship where, say, your partner is sick and now sex is off the table for a minute. How do you keep that going?
Did you know there's actually 12 different types of intimacy that we can experience in marriage, and sex is only one of them? That's how you focus on the other 11 intimacies that we can experience in marriage. So now you're going to ask me what they are.
Yeah,
are they?
You tell.
My ears are perked. I'm ready.
Well, exactly. She caught me without the pen.
I keep a pen and paper by me.
Good.
I'm ready.
Take notes for me, sis.
Okay, we've got aesthetic, commitment, communication, conflict, creative, crisis, emotional, intellectual, recreational, sexual, spiritual, and work.
Interesting.
And so if anybody wants to learn more about going, we obviously we have to chat about these now, but as a side note, if somebody wants to learn more about these, learn how you can go deeper with them, that is another product I have available on my website. It's called 31 Days of Intimacy, and it walks couples through each of the 12 types of intimacy in very intentional ways over the course of a month.
Mm.
So, which one do you guys have questions
about that?
You pick.
But yeah, I'll pick one. You pick one. Conflict, definitely. You don't say.
Okay.
Conflict and intimacy don't sound like two things that would go together. So why? Let's talk about that.
Yes. All right. Conflict, intimacy. Have you ever had a successful conflict with your partner where you guys had a disagreement and you came out on the other side, like actually closer together? And so we've got a comment like the makeup after a conflict. No, we're not talking about the makeup after a conflict. We're talking about the conflict itself. It's because the thing about the 12 types of intimacy is it's focused on the relationship rather than the self, right? So if you look at a framework like the 5 love languages, it's very much self-focused. Are they speaking my love language? Do I feel loved by what they're doing? Versus each of these intimacies are focused on building the relationship. So conflict intimacy is are you fighting to be right? Or are you fighting for the relationship? Are you fighting to understand where your spouse is coming from and why they feel so passionately about why they feel that way? So one of the big things about conflict intimacy is you need to discuss your conflict intimacy when you are not already in conflict, right? So what I suggest doing is sitting down like a week later and saying, okay, we fought about, whatever. We cannot discuss. So let's say you fought about doing the dishes. You can't discuss the dishes. You're going to sit down and you're going to discuss how the fight went. Did you feel unheard? What made you feel heard? Did they say or do something that made you feel heard and understood? Going forward, is there something that would help you feel more heard and understood, in the next conflict? So that's one of the big things with conflict intimacy is you can't talk about how you're fighting when you're already in the red zone.
Interesting. Yeah, Cheryl said, yes, understanding and forgiving and moving forward. Hi, Virgil. We have Virgil from Manchester, England here. So that's very interesting. Cheryl also said, she said, a lot of men and women hide their true sexuality. Can you talk about that? And just, I guess, as we were talking about taboo and what, I guess coming to terms with your sexuality and what you like.
So I think a part of it is a lack of education. I don't know if it's so much a hiding of their true sexuality or a socialized to not be allowed to express it in authentic ways. Right. So we talked about how purity culture erases female sexuality before we ever make it to marriage. Right. And so women are not, it's not socially acceptable for a woman to express her sexuality, or we're labeled loose or, any other pejorative word that you can think of for, a whore or, whatever. So any expression of our own sexuality gets us labeled as a loose woman or whatever. Right. And a man has to be this very virile, performative sort of person. So they are not socialized to be allowed to be emotionally vulnerable. And, true intimate sex is really into me, you see. And so for truly intimate sexual experiences, men, that feels like a threat to a lot of men because sex for them is meant to be this performative, very masculine sort of thing. And it can feel very threatening to be that level of vulnerable with someone. And so you have these opposing forces where it seems like someone is intentionally hiding their sexuality when in reality, it's probably more societal conditioning at play that they don't feel comfortable expressing their true selves.
That's
I
very
like that answer. I like that answer, Angela. I feel
Well,
like
I
that's
have to go back and get this recording and turn it into a TikTok.
absolutely. Make sure you get that, because when I say that is like just so spot on, because I think like I've had conversations where men have explored things with their female partners, and they were talking to their boys about it, and now their boys are looking at them like, oh dog, you're gay. And he, no, like, first off, but how do you understand? And I was like, that's I think that's a problem that we have too, when it comes to sexuality, labeling and trying, like, understand what things are for what they are, and not try to overly sexualize or try to even demean somebody for something that they want. If this is a man with his wife or his female partner doing something, I don't understand how, if he's enjoying any kind of anal pleasure, how does that make what he's doing gay? Like that, it doesn't at all. And there's, like you were talking about, erogenous zones, there's a lot of erogenous zones in that. Can we talk about like a little, I know we're almost running out of time, but just some of these taboo things that come with things that we like sexually?
Yeah, absolutely. So society at large, but in particular evangelical Christianity, is spectacular at demonizing what it doesn't understand, right? And so a lot of people don't understand that there's actually like a lot of nerve endings in the anus for both sexes, and that prostate stimulation can be intensely pleasurable for men. And that doesn't mean that he's gonna, leave his wife and his family and go find a harem of 12 other guys to have constant orgies.
Right.
It just means that he likes when his wife stimulates him in a way that society has deemed unacceptable. And that's okay. And so also things like dominance and submission games and kink. Kink is defined as like the real Webster sort of level definition of kink is anything outside of societal norms. So based on that definition, depending on the community that you're in, something as benign as oral sex could be defined as kink because it's outside of the norms for that community. And so a lot of people are actually participating in kink activities without necessarily realizing that they're participating in kink activities. But society, and again, the evangelical church, likes to demonize kink and dominance games because they don't understand that at the base level, it is just exploring pleasure. It's exploring sensory experiences. What sort of sensory experiences can we create in our body? It's exploring the line between pleasure and pain and how we can harness our body's responses to things like pleasure and pain. And it's exploring things like power dynamics. Little kids play with power dynamics all the time. Think about anytime you have watched a group of children engaging in imaginative play, it is always going to be some variation of cops and robbers. That is dominance play because somebody's in charge and somebody is not. Somebody is submitting to the will of the other. And people think that just because we have grown up, we have to stop playing. And I don't understand why that is. We know scientifically children learn best through play. It takes something like 21 repetitions in an academic setting for a child to learn versus like 2 in a play setting. Those numbers, again, not entirely accurate. Don't quote those numbers. But
right, but we get the point. Right.
Children learn best through play. So that does not change just because I turned 18. I still learn best through play, because that is how humans are designed to learn. And so why would I stop playing with my spouse and interacting and exploring themes of things that I want to work out in my life through play with my spouse?
Mm.
I like that. I like that. Ooh.
Really
Okay, wait. So let's give us your website where we can find all of this goodness. I'm sure folks is.
Everything is on my website, thechristiansexpert.com. You can get to my Patreon from my website. You can get to my Amazon storefront from my website. You can find all of my socials from my website, as well as the marriage playdate and the 31 days of intimacy that we talked about.
All right. Perfect.
Amazing.
And then listen, give us this little nugget on the way out when it comes to oral sex and it being biblical. Give us a little taste.
That's so funny, because I literally, like, right before I got on the call, was making a TikTok about the scriptures that reference it.
Okay.
You think that I have them memorized, but I don't. So I'm going to look them up real quick.
No worries.
So if you are a person of faith and you have never done a deep dive on the Song of Solomon,
Ooh, yes, you should.
what are you doing? Okay.
There's a difference of reading it when you are like a young adult, and once you've matured and you read it again, and it's like, wait a minute, say what now?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's also, like, get multiple commentaries, right? And do, like, look at where the verses connect to other verses, look at the root words of things. Okay, so let's look at Song of Solomon 2:3b. So Song of Solomon 2:3, the second half of the verse says, "With great delight I sat in his shadow, and his fruit was sweet to my taste."
Oh.
I don't know what kind of fruit y'all are eating.
Like, look, you need to be eating some certain fruits to make sure that it tastes sweet. Okay.
And then we also have Song of Solomon 4:16b, which says, "Awake, O north wind, and come, O south wind. Blow upon my garden and let its spices flow." So if we look at actually a different translation on that one, we're going to hop over. So those were both English Standard Version. We're going to hop over to King James. King James says, "Awake, O north wind, and come thou south. Blow upon my garden, that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat its pleasant fruits." That is very, very clearly, very clearly,
very clearly,
"Blow upon my garden so the spices may flow out. Let him come and eat its pleasant fruit."
Oh my.
Well then.
Well,
look, I'm gonna have to go. Have you read the Message translation?
Yes,
I was like, the Message really puts it in layman's terms. I've been told that they're actually coming out with like a Gen Z version. There was a pastor who was reading a couple of passages.
I saw that video.
Had me cracking up. I was like, I might need to go read that version just to give some.
All right, here's 4:16 in the Message. "Wake up, north wind, get moving, south wind, breathe on my garden, fill the air with spice fragrance. Oh, let my lover enter his garden. Yes, let him eat the fine, ripe fruits."
Oh, yes. Okay. The Song of Solomon, y'all. You got any questions?
Yeah, no. Multiple versions. Don't just read the KJV. You need to do multiple versions and break it down. Check out these references, like Angela said. I'm gonna have to go read that tonight. Let me look
Yeah.
at get my notebook together. Say what?
Exactly. If that ain't spicy reading for you.
Ooh-wee. Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
You have opened my eyes. Definitely. Definitely.
That tends to happen.
Just like, wow. That's all I
Exactly.
can
So
say.
y'all make sure that you follow Angela on TikTok. Make sure that you go to her website for all the goodies, like she said that she has up there. I know I definitely will be going up there to
Me
see
too.
to see what she's got
For
going.
real.
Exactly. I know I had fun perusing just as I was going through, her page to see, what she was about, a little, internet stalking. And I was like, wow, I was like, this, I could be here for days. Like she's got tons
Information.
of great information. So yes, guys, make sure that you do that.
Yes.
Cheryl's asking the site. My website is the Christian Sexpert, SEXPERT.com.
Okie dokie. So let's put B in there.
All right. Well, we are so happy that you came on. We have to have you back because
Yes.
Absolutely.
part 2 of this where for
We could have a he said, she said.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, so
Yeah.
listen, y'all, make sure that you hit our inbox with conversations and questions that you'd like for us to bring to the table. Because we'll just we'll let Angela put it all out there.
We're going to discuss it. And then remember, this is a no judgment zone.
Yes.
Everybody's thoughts and opinions are welcome, but we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna keep it real. Real.
Absolutely. I know. My whole face got hot.
I was sitting here like, oh my, I didn't have anything to. I had to take my drink. Let me take a sip of this drink right here.
Clutch proverbial pearls.
I know, right? Ooh, clutch.
Okay, Solomon.
Yeah. So you super saints, y'all might not be able to handle this. We don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you want to come in and be taught and learn something. Now you might.
Exactly. Ain't nothing nice as some holy sex, okay? Get that on a t-shirt for you.
Oh my goodness gracious. Angela, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you on here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have you back for he said, she said. We have to, because we need to go deeper into this. Some people need to be free. Like I'm a little more free. I need to be more free, but I'm a little more free right now. Like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can go there and be ready for that. So thank you so much. I'm going to go over and find you on TikTok because I may need to take some pointers on how to get these followers up. I don't know if I can do 3 videos a day, but I do a little something.
If you want to chat about that, I do. I have started doing a little bit of like, this is my process. So that is like something else that has come out of my TikTok success is
wonderful.
Having that conversation too. Because realistically, I'm just a fat middle-aged housewife in the middle of Ohio, like homeschooling, her kid, like
living your best life.
Where in Ohio are you?
How do I have 100,000 people want to know what I have to say? Yes, yes. Let's talk about it.
So where in Ohio are you?
I'm near Cleveland.
Okay. Cleveland, okay.
Nice. I went to Oberlin, so
we lived in Oberlin.
Yes, that's a very nice, quaint little town.
Oh, I love Oberlin.
You in Ohio too?
Yeah, that's where I went my freshman year before I came to Delaware. Yep.
Well, I was in a little town called Batavia, Ohio, outside of Cincinnati, about 40 minutes outside of Cincinnati in the country, somewhere in the backwoods somewhere that I didn't know they had in Ohio. Like, how did I end up here? But okay.
I have close friends that live very close to Batavia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Part of my ministry team, actually, for the other ministry that the Christian Sexpert was born out of.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Awesome,
well,
awesome.
We look forward to having you back with us again. Y'all, if you have not subscribed to the House of Peach, please scan the QR code and subscribe. As you see, we got some spicy stuff going on the House of Peach. You just never know who we're going to have on. We have Angela here, her website. Reach out to her. Don't you worry. She's not going to tell your business. She's going to keep it discreet, keep it private, and she's going to help you out in your marriage and your relationship. Join us again on next Tuesday at the same time on the same platform. We want to make sure you know that we are going to be here. Come on in, share this out, invite people. We want them to see what we're doing. If you are a female entrepreneur and you have not been on our show, you're missing out. You're missing out on the good stuff. So you need to reach out to Morgan or myself and let us know, hey, I haven't been on the show. I want to come on. This is my business. This is what I do. And we would love to have you on and get you connected with our community of people that we love so dearly. Until next week, y'all have an amazing rest of your week and an even greater weekend. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Thanks again, Angela.
Thanks, Angela.
Yeah, I'm so extra.